Hello and welcome, I'm Thomas Porteous and you're watching NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the top stories. US envoy Steve Witkoff is meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow as President Trump's deadline for a Russia-Ukraine ceasefire approaches. Trump has warned of heavy sanctions if Russia fails to end the war, while Ukraine's Zelensky welcomes the threat of tougher US sanctions. Russia attacks a gas facility in Ukraine's Odessa region, targeting the infrastructure preparations for the winter season. President Zelensky has said and described the attack as a deliberate blow to Ukraine's winter preparations, while urging Washington to pressure Russia for a ceasefire. At least 20 Palestinians are killed and many others are injured when a truck carrying humanitarian aid overturned onto a crowd in central Gaza. The incident happened as people gathered in search of food and supplies amid a growing humanitarian crisis. Israeli forces have killed a further 138 people in Gaza in the past 24 hours, bringing the total death toll to over 61,000, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. 771 people have also been injured and many victims remain under the rubble. A top UN official has warned of catastrophic consequences if Israel expands its military operations in the Gaza Strip. This comes amid reports that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is pushing for a total reoccupation of the enclave. Japan commemorates the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima with a silent prayer and ceremony, reminding the world of the horrors unleashed. The prayer took place at 8:15 a.m., the exact moment when a little boy was dropped over the city on August the 6th of 1945. Heavy rain and landslides hammered rescue efforts in India's Uttrakhand state after flooding killed 4 and left dozens missing. Army and disaster force teams struggled to reach the cut-off village of Dharauli as major highways remained blocked. Karol Nawrocki, a nationalist historian and supporter of US President Donald Trump, was sworn in as Poland's new president after winning the June 1st election. His victory deals a significant blow to the pro-EU government. We start this hour in Europe, where dozens of Russian drones struck a gas pumping station in southern Ukraine, according to Ukraine's energy ministry. The targeted site is part of an LNG import network linked to the US and Azerbaijan. Kiev says the strike was aimed at civilian infrastructure and intended to damage energy ties with Western partners. Russia's defense ministry confirmed the attack, but claimed their forces hit gas infrastructure supplying Ukrainian military facilities. The strike took place near the Romanian border, and it comes as energy supply routes grow increasingly critical to Ukraine's war effort and diplomatic relations with the West. We're now joined by Mark Sutherland. He's a geopolitical analyst. He joins us live from London to discuss the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Mark, as always, pleasure having you on the programme to discuss the updates. What's the significance behind this attack in particular, Mark, as before we discuss what's going on in the background of this? Dozens of Russian drones striking gas pumping in southern Ukraine. What do you think that's going to do to Ukraine's capabilities, and especially as the winter approaches?
Good to be with you, Thomas, again. Thank you. As you are aware, and many other people are aware, the winters out there are vicious. It's extremely cold. And if you are actually attacking that infrastructure, then you are really trying to wear down your idea is to wear down the population of Ukraine in this case, which is what Russia is then trying to do. They are then trying to take out any structure that is of economic value. And as you mentioned, this whole thing of supply in regard to gas, oil via Europe, etc. There has been tit for tat over the last week. We have seen drone attacks go into the Ukraine, taking out oil infrastructure and other tech infrastructure that Russia has. So that constant discussion about trying to get people to get both sides to the table, as President Trump wishes to do. We go back to when he said, I would get this solved in a few days. Sadly, this has gone on with all the loss of life on both sides and all the infrastructure that Ukraine, what's happened with the destruction in Ukraine as well. So after being in Turkey, 45-minute discussion, we need a longer discussion between both sides around the table to end this war. But Russia is turning around and saying, right, we've got the winter coming up, of course. Military action means it will get bogged down in the weather as well. And they are piling on the pressure on the Ukrainian people by taking out certain infrastructure in the way that they are actually doing, Thomas.
Mark, indeed. And we also see this, as you've mentioned. We've seen US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff meet with the Russian President, Vladimir Putin. This comes also as there's been further attacks within the last 24 hours. Just a couple of hours ago, there was an attack in Zaporizhzhia, which killed 2 people. Do you have any optimism that any agreement is going to be reached here, just given 2 days before the US imposes sanctions on both Russia and Russia's closest trading partners? What are your thoughts on possible developments during these Washington-Moscow talks, Mark?
I think Mr. Witkoff, the envoy, has a heck of a lot on his plate, including what's unfolding in the Middle East. Maybe it might be a good idea to send someone else to then say, this is totally your portfolio, to really focus on this. I think we always have to be optimistic, but we also have to be, it sounds a bit on the other side of the pond, we also have to be realistic in this situation, because of Putin turning around and saying, it's not stopping. He also has, I believe, there is also economic strain on Russia itself in regard to the war chest that he has built up with oil and gas. And that has helped to fund what has happened since 2022. Without it seeming an easy phrase to say, it is deeply complex. But I have to hope, we have to be optimistic that people will get to the table to end this. And very sadly, it could have ended 2 or 3 weeks after the Russian invasion. And various people didn't want that to then happen and stop Zelensky actually saying, right, we'll have a discussion with Putin and we'll have a peace deal. We have to be optimistic, Thomas, but with winter coming, this is going to be tough for people inside the Ukraine, and also with Russia knowing how these drone attacks are being able to reach targets in Russia as well. So we need to be constantly optimistic to get these people to the table. But as I say, Witkoff has a heck of a lot on his plate, also with what's happening in the Middle East.
Mark, of course, if this sanctions clock does get to 0 and we reach that August the 8th deadline with no movement towards a ceasefire reached, how effective do you think these sanctions are going to be in putting on Moscow?
There is no doubt about it that this is the other lever that President Trump that the Trump regime have. There is frustration, I believe, my opinion, that getting these 2 sides together to have a discussion. There is no doubt about it. The Donald can pick up the phone, talk to Vladimir, talk to Zelensky. There is a relationship there with Putin, but also within the administration, certain people may feel that they're also being played because he will not stop. They have no option then to apply the economic sanctions. However, that is then what is then shown, say, in the public face. But there's also consistently, there is trading that is always done that we have to pay attention to, that maybe not mentioned. This then has an effect, as you rightly say, on other people, other countries within that region. And very often it takes a lot of work to work out who is trading with who. There'd be a public face on that to say in regard to economic sanctions, but other trading routes will be constantly sought. And remember, China also then it will be buying energy, buys energy reserves of Russia, etc. So again, it's complex, but the economic levers are being used in this case. If we reach, as you say, you reach that deadline of the 8th of August to say, which is a moment happening any moment, to stop this war and stop the casualties on both sides.
Yes, Mark
John.
Sutherland, thank you very much for joining us here on the programme. Always a pleasure to get your insight. We now move over to the Indian subcontinent, where a total of 15 people, including 2 seriously injured army Jawans, have been rescued from Dharauli to Barwari by helicopter. The Jawans have been lifted to the ITBP hospital for treatment. The death toll from the cloudburst and flash floods in the Uttrakhand district has risen now to 5. Over 100 people, including 11 army personnel, are still reported missing as search and rescue operations continue in the difficult terrain. Personnel from the Indian Army, SDRF and local police have also rescued 150 people so far, despite ongoing heavy rainfall hampering operations. Significant damage has been reported in the Kir Ganga catchment, where floods and mudslides swept away buildings, shops and roads. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami reached the affected areas today. Let's have a listen in to what he had to say.
सभी एजेंसियां हमारी वहाँ पर काम कर रही है, सेना के लोग भी काम कर रहे हैं, बचाव और राहत के काम में आईटीबीपी लगी है, एनडीआरएफ, एसडीआरएफ और स्थानीय लोग, सभी लोग आगे आकर हमारे जनप्रतिनिधि भी सभी लोग बचाव के काम में लगे हैं। कल लगभग 130 के लगभग लोगों को रात को रास्ते में चूँकि काफ़ी ज़्यादा मौसम ख़राब होने के कारण से अनेक स्थानों पर मार्गों का जो संपर्क है वो कट गया है और कुछ पुल भी जो है क्षतिग्रस्त हो गए हैं। उसके कारण से वहाँ पर पहुँचना भी मुश्किल हो रहा है, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी सभी एजेंसियाँ, सभी लोग जो वहाँ पर पहुँच गए हैं रेस्क्यू के काम।
We're now joined by Ajit Kumar. He's the managing director of the Kushi Gram Foundation. He joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much for joining us, Ajit, on the programme. What more can you tell us about this ongoing situation in Uttarakhand? How common is this, and how are rescue operations going, and what challenges do the team face?
Yes, you know, the kind of environment around the site is challenging because despite whatever the training is there and whatever resources and infrastructure the armed forces have and NDRF and SDRF have, the terrain is not and especially after the disaster, the terrain is not suitable to have high speed relief and rehabilitation action. So it will take some time to actually be fully capable to reach out and find out all the missing people. It will be a challenge. It will take some time, but I think the forces are working well, and despite all odds and the challenges, because the challenges that have been created are really quite tough.
Yes, indeed. And how common is this? Is disasters like these in the Uttarakhand state? We've obviously seen this historically. What more can you tell us about that?
You mean to say that how common are these disasters?
I do indeed.
Yes, true. Actually, what I feel that the number of disasters we had seen in last, say, 50 years or so, we are seeing same number of disasters in 1 or 2 years, maybe more also. So that is the real troubling issue. How are the numbers increasing exponentially? What should be done? Today also in a meeting we're discussing all these. What kind of infrastructure we should create? Bamboo, concrete, all natural materials. Why don't we use these materials for creating infrastructure in this hilly terrain? Why are we not able to say limit the number of people traveling to these places? Every day we can have some kind of license, some kind of say containment of the number of people and challenges. These we have to take care, otherwise there's no option. We'll face more and more disasters like this.
Ajit, thank you very much for joining us on the programme. We will of course continue to bring you all updates in regards to that flash flooding in Uttrakhand as soon as we get them. We now move over to the United States, where top Trump officials are set to meet at Vice President J.D. Vance's residence to discuss the next steps in the Epstein files case. At the centre is whether to release audio and transcripts from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's recent interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. The dinner will include Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and White Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. Officials are weighing public release of the 10-hour interview, which is still being redacted. On the other hand, former President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary have been subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee as part of an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. The committee, chaired by Republican James Comer, issued subpoenas to the Clintons and 8 others seeking information about Epstein's activities. This comes after the Trump administration declined to release additional federal files on Epstein, prompting bipartisan frustration. The committee has also subpoenaed the Justice Department for related records. We're now joined by Dr. Satoru Nagao. He is a fellow at the Hudson Institute. He joins us live from Tokyo, Japan. Thank you very much, Dr. Nagao, for joining us here on the programme. What are the potential ramifications of the Clinton subpoena in relation to the Epstein case? And what more can you tell us about this situation in general?
Originally, this was a crime. But list of the customers of this crime are elite society, including both Republicans and Democrats in the United States. That's why both sides, Republican side and Democrat side, try to exploit this situation as an advantage, and at the same time, they need to avoid this as a scandal of them. That's why this has continued for a long time. Such kind of the big influential crime, when they publish information, it should be organized and it should be the perfect explanation is needed. So that's why so far, the explanation or information to publish or review from the investigation case is not perfect. That's why it looks like this is a conspiracy or something. But they should hurry to explain perfect something about these cases. Without this, looks like issue itself creates a new scandal for Republicans, for the Democrats. But that is the current situation. So each case is every day, it could be the scandal. But what really happened should be identified clearly. That is the core of this issue, I think.
Yes, indeed, Dr. Nagao. What more can you tell us about this case, and why has it sparked so much bipartisan anger?
Because the background is originally the President Trump's side. Before he won as a president, he won the election last year. He tried to push the Biden government to publish the information about this case. So that time, Trump administration, Trump side Republicans believe this is weak point of the Democrats. So people who believe the conspiracy or people who want to support President Trump, they support to publish the report. But once he's sworn in and checks information, President Trump decides he do not want to publish it. Because there is a possibility that this information is not perfect, and at the same time there is a name of him in the information, so it creates something new scandal based on the not perfect information. So he does not want to publish it. But view from the supporter who listened to President Trump remark before he won the election. So that time, view from them, okay, President Trump changed his remark, his opinion. That is something. There is something conspiracy or something. So that's why they start to doubt President Trump. So that's why this view from the Democrats, okay, it is the time to exploit it. Let's use this. Now, in the past, they are the target. President Trump sides exploit this to attack the Democrats. But now Democrats can get the initiative to attack Republican government. But so, view from the Trump administration side, you are also in the list. They want to say. So Democrats, Clinton is in the list. Trump is in the list. Both sides try to say and attack each other. That is happening just now, I believe. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Nagao, for giving us that insight. You are staying with us as we discuss more updates from the United States. The Department of Health and Human Services will cancel contracts and pull funding for some vaccines that are being developed to fight respiratory viruses like COVID-19 and the flu. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced in a statement on Tuesday that 22 projects totaling $500 million to develop vaccines using mRNA technology will be halted. Kennedy's move to terminate the projects are the latest in a series of actions that have highlighted his long-standing skepticism towards vaccines within the nation's health department. He's retracted recommendations regarding COVID-19 shots, dismissed the panel responsible for making vaccine recommendations, and refrained from strongly supporting vaccinations as a measles outbreak escalated. The health secretary criticized mRNA vaccines in a video posted on his social media, justifying the decision to cancel projects led by the nation's top pharmaceutical companies, including Pfizer and Moderna, which provide protection against viruses such as the COVID-19 virus and H5N1. There's a quote here: to replace the problematic mRNA programs, we are all focusing on the development of safer and more comprehensive vaccine strategies, such as whole virus vaccines and innovative platforms that remain effective as viruses mutate. That is from the Health Secretary of the United States, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We're once again joined by Dr. Nagao. Dr. Nagao, what are your thoughts on this? Obviously, RFK Jr. is a long vaccine skeptic. There were a lot of worries about him coming into the role that Donald Trump nominated him for as health secretary. Now we see his views coming into practice with this $500 million in funding for vaccines. What are your thoughts about the new health secretary's approach to the way he goes about his government role?
Yes, Kennedy does not believe the vaccine is variable. So that's why if the U.S. government will not continue the research about the vaccine, and the delivery system will be damaged by the not funding this, it is okay for him. But at the same time, the view from the vaccine supporter, I also, but these people, this is not.
Oh, I apologize. I believe we have had some technical issues there. Hopefully we get Dr. Nagao back very, very soon. However, we are covering this $500 million cut that the US Health Secretary has made to RNA vaccines, which help they help things like COVID-19 and other respiratory illnesses. Dr. Nagao, I believe that you are back with us once again. Apologies, there seemed to be some sort of network issue. What more can you tell us about this situation of the US Health Secretary cutting $500 million worth in aid from vaccine programs?
Okay, I will explain a little bit summary case. Yes, he do not believe this is valuable, so that's okay for him. But the supporter for the vaccine, this is damaged. But anyway, the Trump administration direction is they try to make the government small. So not only this case, but also the other case, they try to cut the funding. So that's why this is one of the area the current Trump administration cutting the funding. So cut funding and creating money to use as is his policy. So that's why the view from this area, this is not bad. But view from people who support vaccine, not research, not develop, not deliver, that is not good for the next pandemic. That's also true, I think. So without someone's fund, maybe research will end and we will face a new crisis in the future. But that time, we need to think, we need to deal with that time. But that is current situation, I believe. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Nagao. You are staying with us once again. Today, hundreds of firefighters worked to contain a wildfire in southern France that has ravaged a large area and claimed one life and left another 9 people injured. The fire, which began on Tuesday, has destroyed or damaged 25 homes in the Aude department, where over 1,800 firefighters are battling the largest wildfire in France this summer. An elderly woman has died in her home and 2 others were also injured, with one now in critical condition due to severe burns. Several firefighters have also suffered injuries from smoke inhalation and 1 person is still missing. The fire has scorched approximately 12,000 acres of land, and this is what a few residents had to say.
En fait, là, la partie qu'on voit qui est en train de brûler, finalement, c'est une partie qui est hyper sauvage. Et il y a 2-3 accès, mais là, c'est pas possible que les camions s'engagent là-dedans, en fait.
Ça a l'air de progresser. Cet après-midi, on avait l'impression que ça s'atténuait. Et puis là, on a l'impression que ça reprogresse. Et puis que ça se déplace vite, quoi.
Officials stated that weather conditions are expected to remain challenging, with strong winds, rising temperatures and dry vegetation in the area. Camping grounds and at least 1 village have been partially evacuated and several roads are closed. Prime Minister François Bayrou is scheduled to visit the Aude department on Wednesday. We're once again joined by Dr. Nagao to discuss this further. Dr. Nagao, what are your thoughts and analysis of this another wildfire disaster in Europe?
Yeah, Northern Sophia, the summer is very hot this year. Compared to last year, compared to the past years, temperature is rising. And the scientists point out if temperature rises, this such kind of fire will spread and easy to occur. So that's why it has happened just now and we are seeing. So this is, of course, fire, big incident, nearly 2,000 firefighters need to deal with such kind of incident. But every year we face this, and this is one kind of the common event now. So that's why how to deal with, we need to adjust this situation that is unfortunate, but we need to do. So that is a big problem. So fire spread, forest will gone. And so without, we need to create a new forest. The forest area will be shrinked. Is this good? I do not think so.
Dr. Nagao, thank you very much for joining us here on NewsX World. Well, that is all that we have time for. We will continue to bring you more news updates from around the world. Thank you.